Let's go.
Tighten up.
Oh, man.
What a game.
What a game.
Oh, my gosh. I mean, you just know with any Tennessee Titans game, you're going to go through so many emotions.
You
They
hit
started
every,
out so
you hit
strong.
every emotion.
They started out so strong. Didn't do what I thought they probably should do, which was if they won the toss, receive the ball. They decided to defer. Ended up working out really well for them because they stopped Baltimore, get the ball, go down and score.
Mm-hmm.
Great drive, capped off by a touchdown to Jonnu Smith. They were rolling, looking great.
Jonnu scores first again against the Ravens.
And it kind of in the same area of the end zone.
It was.
Yeah.
It was the same side. I mean, everything.
Yeah. So
Just different play call.
Tennessee wins 30-24 in overtime. They improved to 7-3. Colts game is going on right now. It's a close one, tied up 28-28 in the fourth quarter. So not really sure how that one's going to go yet. It's going to be a close one. Probably as soon as the video's over, I assume we're going to be checking that one out, seeing what's going on there.
Go, Pack, go.
Yeah, for real. That could give us the lead again in the AFC South. And then we beat the Colts next week. Gives us a really good chance to end up winning the AFC South.
It does. But I don't want to, that stuff that we don't know about right now, I don't want to move focus ahead to the Colts just yet. I want to go back and focus on this game.
Absolutely.
Like you said, we stopped Baltimore on their first drive. We go down, score a touchdown, Jonnu Smith. We're feeling good. We got that lead, like you said.
Right.
Then Baltimore gets the ball back. We hold them to 3. We come back out, and
then
not
things
looking so hot.
start to turn. Pretty much Titans played, I would say, a great first quarter. Second quarter, third quarter, that is when things really began to kind of
not look so good.
Yeah, things kind of began to just go to shambles, and shit hit the fan.
Yep.
Baltimore went up. What were they up like 11 at one point?
It would have been. I know at one point it was 14-7, and then
up 11 at one point. It was 21-10, and then the Titans brought it to 21-13. Then obviously they kicked the field goal to put the game in striking distance. It was in striking distance, but I don't think going for it on fourth down right there would have been the best move. So they kicked the field goal and just really set up. I mean, you could kind of tell going through the fourth quarter, this is set up perfectly for overtime.
Well, and when they went down and scored to take the lead, I was like, all right, we just get a stop.
Right.
Get a stop. And
A.J. Brown with the grown-ass man touchdown.
I mean, I literally looked at you after he caught that ball and made the first couple guys miss, and he just kept his legs moving. I believe McNichols come up behind him.
Gave him the push into the
both
end
of
zone.
them just powered in, and I looked at you and I said, grown fucking man. Right
Listen,
there.
I mean, hey, yes, Jeremy McNichols comes in, gives him a little extra push at the end. I don't think that has near as much to do with Jeremy McNichols as it does A.J. Brown being absolutely grown.
I mean,
you looked at me after that play and you were like, I was just hoping he could get the first down.
yeah, I mean, that's really what I was hoping, because you're in a 3rd and 10, we need something.
Right.
And you're like, okay, they're probably, if they get to 4th down, they're going to go for it. They have to at this point. And it's like, at least get it close. You don't want...
So you can run it with Henry.
Right, you don't want another... You don't want 4th and long.
You don't want to have to pass it on 4th down.
Exactly. And A.J. Brown just said, you know what? Give it to me. I'm making up for some things. I'm making sure I get in the end zone.
Yeah, he was dropping some passes earlier in the game. Let's talk a little bit about that.
And that's something I want to hit on right quick. Great win. This does a lot for the Titans. Obviously makes us feel good.
For sure.
But we're not going to do like we did at the first of the season where, okay, we won, so we're going to overlook problems.
Let's not overlook the things that need to be addressed.
We have some things that need to be addressed, from our pass protection to 1 or 2 bad decisions by Tannehill to receivers dropping.
I mean,
receivers
he played a good game.
He did play a good game. He only had one interception.
Right.
So I mean, it was in a bad spot of the field, but a lot of that comes back to McNichols missing that blitz pickup. I mean, he was standing over behind the right side of the line, and they just shot right up the middle. And I don't think there was any way there was going to be a good play for Tannehill there. Yeah. It would. I mean, he tried to force it to, I believe, Jonnu. It got picked off. Even if he would have tried to hold on to that ball, it may have come out, and it may have been a fumble, because that was a shot. That
I can't remember who. I believe it was Patrick Queen that was coming through.
I can't remember who it was either.
At him, but
anyway, getting back to it, I mean, just those plays right there, the bad decisions. We had a couple, like I said, the protection wasn't that good, and then the drops. And we're sitting here thinking, man, this is not what we need right now. You know, this is not looking good. So, but, you know, those are things that I guess you could say could easily be fixed. I don't know about the pass protection. The drops, though, that's on, more times than not, that could be on the receiver if they get both hands on it.
I mean, a lot of the drops that I was talking about were situations where they had, you know, at least a hand on it, maybe two hands, and it just somehow, you know, slipped out.
A couple of them were, you know, a little overthrown or thrown behind them. One of them, I thought Tannehill was going to have his second interception on the day. I mean, really, I think A.J. Brown just, even though he got his hands on it, the Baltimore defender got both hands on it first, and Brown just had to kind of knock it out right quick. But he made up for his drops in the second half.
For sure. You know, he definitely completely turned his performance around, because we went from saying, you know, A.J. Brown's been targeted a few times, but, you know, he's either dropping them or, you know, something has happened. And then in the second half, it was just like he was a completely different monster. And I don't know, you know, if these guys, I don't know what the deal is with the drops. I don't know if they just need to be more sure about themselves, or what exactly needs to go on to fix that. Hopefully it is an easy fix.
I think so.
I don't expect them to continue dropping passes moving forward, but it's something to watch.
Right. I think what it was, I think A.J. Brown may have still been in his own head after last week. You know, he had that easy touchdown, dropped it.
We saw the Instagram post, the kind of cryptic, you know.
We don't really know what's going on, but then he comes out this game. I mean, they take a shot. And ball was a little bit underthrown. He had to kind of let up on his route, come back for pass interference was called. But, you know, he had a chance to catch that, and he just let it slip through. And I think the second half gave him, maybe gets his confidence back and gets him out of his own head about that. And I want to address right quick, because I got to looking. He caught 4 of his 7 targets. But let's talk about Corey Davis, who caught 5 of his 7 targets for 113 yards. He was looking good.
Corey Davis looked really
another
good
really good game.
He's put together several good games this season. I think as far as A.J. Brown, he's probably riding pretty high after this game. Definitely don't have to, I don't think, you know, worry about him getting down on himself anymore going forward. But yeah, Corey Davis, man, had a great game. 5 receptions for 113 yards and a huge 50-yard reception. So, I mean, he had a great game. Definitely had some catches on some of those final drives that put the Titans in a good position to capitalize and, you know, in the end, come out and win the game.
Right. And Cameron Batson, I want to hit on him too.
I'm trying to give great plays.
I'm trying to give everyone credit.
Give everybody some love.
I mean, he moved
all around, pretty much team victory.
He moved the sticks for us, you know, a couple times.
Right.
Shifty, made some guys miss, and was pretty physical. And that's one thing I liked about Corey Davis, is jumping back to him. His long reception was, he had the defender that was on him when he caught that pass. He kind of got away from him, and he looked and seen another defender coming. And instead of just stepping out of bounds, he was like, you know, we need to be physical this game. This is my, you said you like it when I go into the player's mind and tell you what I think.
I think it's funny.
He seen that guy, and he was like, you know what, I'm going to hit him. And they collided.
Your Henry voice is pretty good. The Davis one might need some work.
Need some work. All right. I'll try and work on that. But yeah, these guys, they done really good for us. And
is Cameron Batson, is he sort of taking over that role that we thought Khalif Raymond was going to play at the beginning of the season?
I believe he probably has.
I think so.
We haven't seen Khalif Raymond that much.
Batson's been pretty reliable, actually. And when he gets the ball in his hands, he can do some good things.
He's shifty. I don't think he has he has good speed, but I don't think he has the top end speed that Raymond might have.
Right, but he's a little more agile.
Right.
He's more shifty, and I think he might even have a little more of that first step, kind of quick burst to him.
Right. And let's jump to the defense.
Let's stay on the offense just for a moment. Let's go ahead and completely round out the offense.
I was going to save a couple of the offensive points for a little bit later.
Let's go ahead and completely round it out. We've been on the offense for quite a while, and let's go to Ryan Tannehill before we go to obviously who we're going to talk about. I would also like to mention before we get into this, we haven't been doing our key performer these past couple reaction videos. We've kind of been leaving that out, forgetting about it.
Oh yeah.
So we need to get to that.
All right.
But first, let's talk about Tannehill. Obviously, he did have some mistakes, and some of his throws he's been missing on a little bit. I think the pressure was getting to him during this game.
It was.
And obviously we need him to be able to take some of that pressure and be able to still deliver good throws.
Well, we've seen
later on throughout the season.
We've seen games before where he stood in the pocket till the very last second, knew he was going to take a shot, and he takes the shot and still delivers a great ball. And,
I'm not super worried about Tannehill going forward, but, these past couple of games, there have been some things that looked a little shaky from him.
Mm-hmm.
But going forward, I don't think it's a big issue. It's not as big as some of the other issues that need to be addressed.
Right, and I'm going to say that one thing that gets me, just talking about the offense, we have that first drive where we go down and score. I mean, we're rolling.
Yep.
And then we come out on the second drive, we stall out. Third drive, I believe, was the interception. Or it may have been the second drive that was on. I can't remember.
I can't exactly remember.
But either way, it was like we went away
from... It's stagnant. The offense gets a little stagnant.
It's like Arthur Smith is going away from how he's kind of running the play or calling the plays on the first drive to something completely opposite on these drives that stall out.
Right.
And, some of these underneath plays that he's running, there were a couple screens that I was like, why are you doing that there? Like, that's not a good call. But coming back to Tannehill, like we've already mentioned some of the overthrows, throwing behind receivers. A lot of it had to do with pressure being in his face. He couldn't hold on to the ball as long as he would like to. Our play action was back to working
absolutely
better than it was. And we didn't have that guy that was shooting off the edge straight at Tannehill. The Ravens, they never had that play.
Yeah.
And Tannehill showing off the wheels a couple times.
He did a couple of times.
I mean, his longest run was 21 yards.
Yep.
And then
that was pretty early in the game, too.
He also had the 2-point conversion.
Yep.
Beautiful play call.
Yeah.
They faked that handoff to Henry.
That's the one that Arthur Smith perfected.
Yeah, everyone crashed to Henry, and Tannehill literally walked in to the.
Yeah, those are the times when you watch a beautiful play like that, and you're just like, yeah, Arthur Smith's going to be a head coach at some time in the near future.
And you're like, okay, you have that beautiful play call there. What the hell happened 2 or 3 drives ago?
Yeah. So moving on from Tannehill for a little bit. Before we get to Henry, one more thing offensively. The offensive line. And, they've been beat up. Hopefully next week Roger Saffold will be back.
Maybe so.
I'm hopeful of that because I think that he would help a lot. I know Ben Jones went out for a moment in this game. I don't know if he ever came back in.
He did. He got poked in the eye, I believe. But Can we talk about the grit that he has? He was questionable for this game.
Yeah.
And he goes out there and plays. I didn't focus on him too much. Obviously, I do want to talk about a play here in a second.
Oh, I think we all know.
But I feel like he played a good game, and he gritted out this game. Like he stayed in. He come back in after getting poked in the eye. But the play I want to touch on, and I still, where I'm going. You bring in was it Douglas or no? Who was
Jamil
it?
Douglas.
Yeah, all right, it was Douglas. Bring him in as center.
He's just awful.
Well,
he's bad.
You don't set him up good. You try to run the Wildcat with Henry in the backfield, and I don't understand if you bring in your backup center. First snap of the game, and he's not used to playing center.
Right, he's a guard.
Put Tannehill right under center.
Yeah, I like that. You made that point during the game, and I really liked it. Put him under center.
Don't put him giving a shotgun snap to Derrick Henry.
Yeah, not even your quarterback.
Right. Well, I mean, the quarterback, they're used to taking like the shotgun snaps.
Right.
Tannehill might have been it was a little high. He may have been able to do something with it, but that stalled us out.
Yeah.
And
hey, my thing on it is it seems like every time Jamil Douglas comes in, there is just some sort of disgusting, terrible, absolutely awful error, or he misses a block. Something happens. This guy does not need to be on the field.
Right.
I don't think so. But Ben Jones, just the toughness, like you mentioned, he's a tough, gritty player. The Titans have him on a great contract. I like Ben Jones a lot.
Yeah, I like Ben Jones a lot too, but switching to another offensive lineman right quick. Sambrailo. He had his hands full.
With Yannick Ngakoue.
Yes, and he got beat several times, and that's where some of the pressure got to Tannehill. Had that one that Ngakoue got back there and, barely got the ball out right before Tannehill could get his arm moving forward. Yep. I was actually a little dumbfounded at the time when that play happened because I'm looking and the clock's still running. I'm thinking that Tannehill's arm was coming forward.
Yeah, incomplete pass.
Right,
clock should have stopped.
But it went out of bounds too.
Oh.
And the clock's still running. I'm like, wait, why? Like, why is it still running? And then come to find out, since he got to the ball and was able to knock it loose before Tannehill's arm started going forward, basically what that means is it was a fumble that Tannehill pushed forward. And since it went out of bounds, the ball gets placed where the contact happened at.
With the clock running. Which, honestly, was not that bad of a thing for the Titans right there because, it kept running some of that time off and kept the Ravens from having a whole lot of time remaining when they got the ball back.
Right, and that was right before halftime.
It was, yeah.
But the thing that got me was the Titans had 3 timeouts. And they take Henry out and start calling just pass plays. And I'm wondering why, because they have over a minute left with 3 timeouts. Why are you taking Henry out in that situation? It didn't make sense.
He did have 28 carries. He played a pretty full game. They had him in there quite a bit. And now, let's finally move to Henry. What a great game. 28 for 133. Obviously, the big touchdown in overtime.
Right quick, I'm guessing he's going to be your key player.
Yeah, I don't think you unless you made a case for AJ Brown. I think there could be a case made for him. I don't think there's any other direction to go with it. Derrick Henry is going to be my key player. I'm sure he's going to be yours as well. Great game, great run in overtime. He put together some really great runs in overtime. Not just the one where he scored, but he really had things rolling. And it's seeming like, obviously I know they had Calais Campbell out, Brandon Williams, I believe the other guy. They had some key guys on their defensive line out, but I don't think the Ravens can stop Derrick Henry.
I don't think so either.
They can't do anything with this guy.
Yes, having those guys that you mentioned out did hurt them, but it's Derrick Henry.
Right.
And, they were celebrating one play he had to jump over a defender that was on the ground. And when he landed, he took 2 steps, and I can't remember which Ravens player it was that come up and popped him. But, he's standing over Henry after that. And Henry had to go off the field for a minute.
Yeah, he got a little shaken up.
Yeah, he was a little shaken up. But, he's standing over him, and I'm sure he's talking all kinds of shit to him. Because he put the big man on the ground there. But you don't need to do that, because Henry went over to the sidelines, and you could tell when he got up after the doctors looked at him, he was like, yeah, y'all are fixing to get it.
It's like Popeye just down the can of spinach.
Yeah, and you just see, the muscles get bigger, and he's like,
I think it should
put me back in.
Should just be like a well-established fact that first of all, it doesn't even have to, obviously, say it wasn't even Derrick Henry. Say that there's just a guy that is his size, 6'2", 6'3", 250, 260 pounds, whatever he is, looks like Derrick Henry. You don't talk shit to that guy.
No.
You don't do that.
Because he lets his play do more of the talking out there. And then if you start chirping at him and you piss him off, that's not going to turn out well for you. No, not at all. And Henry finished the game, like you mentioned, 28 carries. Thank you.
We said, there had to be 25 or more.
25 to 30 carries.
Right.
You got to get back to it. And guess what? He had the 28 carries, and I be damn if the Titans didn't win the time of possession as well, which led to them winning the game, or they just happened to win the game from that. Had the ball about 2 minutes longer than the Ravens. But going back to Henry, 28 carries, 133 yards, 4.8 yards per carry.
Yep.
And the 29-yard touchdown run in overtime. Like you said, second half, he was really starting to wear that defense down. And
it kind of seems like the turning point was the hit that shook him up a little.
It does seem like that.
Funny enough.
And I told you when we went into overtime, we stopped the Ravens. I was like, Henry, we just need him to break a run and score. I was like, that would be the icing on the cake to put this game away. Henry owning the Ravens again, breaking a long run, and like I said, 29-yard run. He done that little, hop step or hop juke to the
to the
right, and had open field. He hit it. And he may have been thinking back to that playoff game where he had broke free.
Where they called up to him. And he ran
all the way through to the end zone. They weren't catching him. Nail in the coffin. Done.
Hits the over, too. Awesome. So now let's move to the defense. And what would you say because obviously, we mentioned it offensively, some of the problems were, Ryan Tannehill a little shaky at times, making a couple of bad throws, and then obviously the offensive line struggled some.
Right.
Drops with the receivers. Those I would say were, some of the three of the problems offensively, three of the main ones. What would you say the 3 main problems were defensively?
3 main problems defensively. Not finishing out, getting sacks on Lamar Jackson.
Got one. Harold Landry, pretty sure.
They may have had a couple of them.
Titans only had 1 sack.
One of them?
Yeah. I believe it was Harold Landry. Check that to make sure. Yeah, Harold Landry with the sack. Only one that the Titans got. And, I would say, got to finish on sacks. And obviously, it's kind of Lamar Jackson is one of the best at, getting out of the pocket, getting away from the pressure, eluding the sack. But still, got to get him down a little bit more than they did with as much as they were able to get into the backfield.
Right, I agree on that. And, they did hit him a couple times in the backfield, but I guess it was because he had already become a runner. Didn't count as a sack. But got to do better about that because he was extending some plays when he slipped out of sacks. Another one is allowing that. I know it was only one play, but that 3rd and long is sticking in my mind where they pretty much ran verticals, and I don't know what happened with our defense. Andrews got right in a perfect hole in the zone.
Yep.
And, Lamar threw a threw a good ball.
Well, I know you said it was only one play, but this is what I was going to mention as one of the
hang on. Let me get my last problem out here right quick.
Mine piggybacked on yours.
Okay, go ahead.
That they were the Ravens were 9 of 15 on third down. I just want to add that.
Well, that was going to be my last one. Actually, was our third down woes are back.
Yep.
It seems like, because that would come out to, I believe, 60% on third down. So that's not too good.
Yeah, it's not great. It's kind of what we've seen
all year long.
Yeah, for most of the games from the Titans. If I had to add anything to that, it would be still occasionally playing too far off the receivers. They fixed it a little bit. They pressed some. Even on a third and short, you looked and you were like, hey, look at that. Titans are actually pressing.
Yeah, I actually called that. It was third and short, and I was like, are you kidding? Like,
oh my gosh, they're pressing.
All three guys are pressing.
Our tweets have been answered.
Yeah. And I do believe that there were several times where, like with what the Titans coaches talked about in their interviews, they were telling the guys, keep in mind, the down and distance, all that. And it seemed like they were doing that. There were times where they were playing a lot deeper off the ball than they
There were a couple times where we were like, okay, look, here it is again. They're playing off.
But I think they've done a lot better at that. So, and I'll let you continue on with yours there.
Yeah, that would be what I would add to it. And, those are the defense looked better. They weren't great by any means, but they looked better. Obviously, very banged up, just like the offensive line. And, Jayon went out. He's going to be missing the rest of the season.
He is going to be missing the rest of the season.
He's out for season. He actually dislocated and fractured his elbow.
Because, obviously I was watching the game here at first.
Yeah.
You were with your fiance at her grandma's house. So right before halftime, we decided to come over there. So I was actually...
You missed that play.
I was in the car on my way to hang out with y'all and watch the rest of the game. So I missed that play.
Not going to lie, I kind of missed it too. I was checking my fantasy team. So I missed it a little bit also. So... let's talk about some guys that performed well on the defense today. Some guys that all around had great performances, even though the defense struggled a little. But, hey, they played better than they have been. And what guys contributed to that? I'm
not going to say that Hooker had the best game. He had a decent game.
Yeah.
He had one really big pass breakup in the end zone. I believe it was Brown ran right by him, and, he had the deep third of the field. And he had really good recovery speed to get back there to him, got his hand up right before the ball got there. Right before. Hit the back of his hand, bounced off, no touchdown. Before that, you had Kevin Byard, who fell for a play action.
Yep.
And come down, ran back up. I believe the ball was going to Andrews, and luckily it was maybe just a little bit underthrown or not thrown hard enough. He had enough speed to get there, get his hand up right before the ball got there, break that pass up. And Desmond King had a penalty called on him at one point in the game for, he was even on the other side of the field away from the play, grabbed one of Baltimore's guys' face mask and was pushing it back. But he had a big pass breakup near the end of the game.
He did, yeah.
That really helped us out.
Kept the first down, kept the touchdown from happening also. And, Kevin Byard has been underperforming.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm not going to say, he fixed things today, but I think he took a step in the right direction. And a guy, that I would like to, or two guys I would like to mention. I think Rashaan Evans had a pretty good game. He has also been underperforming this year, and
even though he basically almost tackled.
Yeah, he tried to push him into the end zone, which was kind of frustrating. But he had 9 total tackles, and none of those were for loss or anything like that. But I think he took a step in the right direction today. And Harold Landry, he was getting some pressure. Obviously, got the sack. He had 7 total tackles. I think he played a good game also.
I agree, and I want to jump to the special teams right quick.
Yeah, I wanted to jump to those before we ended the video, so you were just reading my mind.
Well, that brother connection there,
yeah.
I guess. The punting looked better than last week.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it was great because his first punt was like 40-something yards. and didn't really flip the field that much.
He had some decent punts.
How about the fake punt?
Yeah.
And
Logan Woodside.
1 for 1 on the day for 7 yards.
With the first down to Nick Westbrook.
Yes. And
the undrafted free agent wide receiver. It was perfectly executed.
It was.
And Woodside, I saw this on Twitter, somebody put on. Woodside doesn't look like a quarterback, so it's perfect to stick him back there in the special teams. And guys are just like, okay, yeah, it's, whatever, special teamer back there. Direct snap to him, rolls out to the right. Beautiful, beautiful pass. After that, listen, this guy, he is the backup. I'm riding with Woodside. I don't care who else they bring in. Woodside is the guy.
And the route was really good and good awareness his feet were past the first down and he got pushed back a little bit, but he took the ball, stretched it across, just made sure that they couldn't say he was short.
That was a great play. And then the last thing we got to talk about, as if we're talking about special teams, is the fact that we didn't see a missed field goal today. They attempted 3, made 3. Hey, give the guy a round of applause. We gotta acknowledge it when a good thing like that happens, because for the past 2 years, terrible kicking. Every time a guy trots out there, you gotta have like a Xanax or something.
I am gonna say, I'm not just gonna be like, all right.
Yeah, you can't say, guys, he's fixed his problems, but like a lot of other guys in this game, step in the right direction.
Yep.
So hopefully he can continue that. Things are shaping up to be pretty good for the Titans for the rest of the season after this win. So a win against the Colts next week would go a long way towards the Titans making the playoffs.
It would.
I hate to say it's the biggest game of the season because
there's more games left.
It seems like every game is the biggest game of the season, but to date, I think the Colts game next week will be the biggest game of the season.
Well, it will be, and the reason that every game is seeming like that now is because
they're in the playoff hunt.
Well, there's so many teams in the AFC that records are so close.
Every game matters.
This win against Baltimore is really big because now this gives us the head-to-head over them, so that could play out big later on. And I just want to say, congrats to Derrick Henry on his 50th career touchdown today. And we know many more are to come.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, this guy's got, a long contract, longer than most people want for a running back, to stay in Nashville. So let's get 200.
Got to keep the stud around.
Let's get 200.
I'm fine with that.
So, hey, we had some big expectations for Derrick Henry this week.
We did. We were putting the pressure on him.
I said he was going to top. These were our bold predictions. I said he was going to top, and obviously they're bold. They're probably not going to hit, but I'm still got the 1-0 lead over Tyler. I said he was going to top the performance that he had against Baltimore in the playoffs, last playoffs, and you said that he was going to have 215?
215 and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
And you know what? I got to thinking about this off of the bold predictions because I gave mine first. Obviously, if mine would have hit, it would have tied us up for a minute. But then when you gave yours, you said that Henry was going to have a better stat line than he did last year against the Ravens.
Right.
So if mine would have hit, yours basically hits by default because of the expectations I put on him.
I'm sorry that my prediction.
I'm just saying you went after me, so you were like, if I play off of Henry, then
if you remember, I got that bold prediction from when we were on TA's show, and I went before you on that show. So your argument is invalid already right there. So hey, we'll be back towards the end of the week. For bold predictions and all kinds of different things, pregame analysis, all that stuff for the Colts game. That'll be on our podcast. You can find our podcast on any platform. Make sure that you go and check it out. Titans Time, whether it be on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio,
they'll all be
Stitcher,
popping up on the screen.
All of those will be on the screen. Go and support the podcast as well if you like the YouTube videos, because obviously same guys run the podcast. So if you like us, you'll like those. Subscribe, leave it a rating, whatever you want to do. Share it with a friend. Also, you can check us out on social media, Twitter, Titans_time. Been getting some more interaction on there. We like that. continue to do that. Instagram, Titans Time Podcast. Facebook, still need to, perform better on Facebook, get those up. Only got like 58 likes. We're going to try to get that to like, 75 within the next couple of weeks. So go like it. It's Titans Time. And then our website, titanstimepodcast.com.
Guys, he mentioned the podcast on all the podcast apps. Go subscribe to it. Leave us 5 stars. Leave us some comments and some questions. We make sure to get the questions answered on the next podcast and include the comments. You're on our YouTube, so make sure you subscribe, turn on the post notifications, like the video, share the video, and leave us some comments. We love all the interaction. We've had other fan bases interacting with us here lately.
Yeah, we like to, even though sometimes they talk shit,
we're for it. We like that interaction, and we'll go back and forth with them.
And if you are from another fan base, as much shit as we might talk back and forth, at the end of the day, hey, it's football.
It's fun.
Yeah, it's fun back and forth. We like that, so don't take too much into it, but we do enjoy the shit talking. So whoever
we're here for
Colts fans, we're on the last game reaction video. It's coming for you. Make sure y'all check out the podcast because we're pretty much just going to talk about how the Titans are going to shit kick the Colts in Week 12. So this has been Titans Time, and as always, tighten up.